This is Jobo Outdoors and welcome back to the channel. In this video I'm going to talk about my 2024 ultralight backpacking gear, and this gear is capable of keeping me comfortable down to temperatures of -6 degrees Celsius, minus heavy snow, because my tent is on the flat side on the top. Otherwise I've got to kick snow off every 15 to 30 minutes. On the outside of my pack is the Zpacks backpack cover. It's made of Dyneema and it weighs less than 70 grams. At the top of the backpack, this is the Zpacks free duo tent. This is a 2-person tent, standalone, but you need to put the stakes on in high wind. I haven't had any problems so far when I used it in winds of up to 70 miles an hour, in heavy rain over 10 hours, and also in sub-zero temperatures to -3 degrees Celsius with a little bit of icy conditions. The tent weighs in at 852 grams with the poles there you see on the side, and with the stakes it comes up to about 1080 grams, which is very ultra light by any true hiking standards. I normally move around with me. This is the Zpacks plain cover. The purpose of this is to protect the backpack when I'm traveling, or if I'm not traveling in heavy storm, I can stuff everything in a hurry in there and they will be protected. Another scenario is also if there's an emergency, I'm in my tent and I've got to evacuate. The next thing to do is shove all the important things in there, like the phone, just throw them there, spare clothes, and leave as soon as possible, because you don't want to leave naked and then you're gonna die in the cold. That's not good. So just make sure you're protected. The next thing I have on the mesh pocket, that's my flying camera, which comes in at about 125 degrees. I'm not gonna talk individually in the form of a review because I haven't used this gear sufficiently, but from the reviews and the initial testing I've done, I'm quite satisfied that I've gone ultralight, but that doesn't mean poor quality. I do have my Dyneema ultralight first aid kit. I just take the bare minimum that I think I will need in an emergency. The backpack itself is the Zpacks Nero Ultra. It's made of Zpacks own ultra material, and it's said to be waterproof and seam sealed. However, I dispute the waterproofness because moisture gets in from the bottom. I did a test yesterday in the bathtub, and the sleeping bag liner at the bottom got moist after 30 minutes. When I compare that with the Montane Trailblazer LT28, everything was completely dry. However, it's still a good backpack. That's why I use a Dyneema waterproof liner, just to make sure everything is protected inside. It comes in at 38 liters. We've got 8 liters in the front, 2.5 liters on the side, 2.5 liters on the side, and 25 liters internal capacity. In here I keep my waterproofs. I wouldn't want to get each item out individually because there are high wind gusts of up to 40 miles an hour coming in at any time. So basically what I have here are the Zpacks rain gaiters, which I've used, and they are proved to be waterproof. I've got the Zpacks waterproof skirt, which is made of the Vetis 3-layer fabric, which they claim to be waterproof to 20,000 hydrostatic head and breathability of 56,000. I also have got in here my Odlo dual dry 3-layer waterproof jacket. It comes in at 164 grams, but Odlo claims a breathability of up to 50,000 and waterproofness of 20,000 hydrostatic head. I had to move away from very heavy jacket because every gram adds on. I also have got my waterproof mitts, I've got my gloves, the other waterproof, I've got my shoes, these ones are the Decathlon Nordic shoes. I used these on the TMB and they were great. I believe they can last anything 400 to 500 miles of tough hiking. Decathlon advertises them as being waterproof for up to 3 hours. However, I've been in water for more than 9 hours and they were the only waterproof that was dry by the end of the day. Everything else I was soaked wet. I do have 2 of 20,000 ranching in power banks, 20,000 milliamps. I took one of these onto the TMB and I loved them. I took 3 power banks and this was my best performer in terms of retaining charge and in terms of being capable of charging my phones. So I now have got 2 of those. I do, if I'm going to Europe, a plug. I always move around with duct tape just in case something tears off. I do have my for snow or slippery surfaces. Everything has got ultralight. I do have my travel. Initially I had a very heavy one, so I've downsized to the Zpacks ultralight one to save some weight. So all in all, the weight I've got in this 38 liter is about 6.5 kgs, including 1 liter of water, which means my base weight is just gone over 5 kgs. But I could, if I'm going on a multi-day hike, like a 10-day hike, the GR20, the TMB, I would get rid of some stuff and make use of resupply points along the trail. I now keep a waterproof phone cover after my other phone was damaged in rain. If I'm on a multi-day hike, I always take a pair of socks, an extra spare pair of socks. These are the Danish Endurance. I use this on the TMB and they just look new. They come very comfortable for me, no blisters. They are running socks, by the way. They are not sold as hiking socks, but I tend to do better with running gear. I always move, I'm talking about summer hiking in Europe. So we are talking about one spare t-shirt, which is the unique UC 125, and a pair of trousers. These are the good threads from Amazon. Bought them for under 30 pounds, but they are brilliant, very comfortable, 5 pockets, jean style, hybrid, nylon and elastin, they are still bidding after some of them more than 50 washes. Water still bids on them. I don't know how they made them at that price, but they're just brilliant. I can't go wrong with them. And I bought about 5 pairs, I think. Next, I've got my Thermarest Airpad NXT X-Therm. This comes with the cover, with the original cover, at about 652 grams, which is slightly heavier than the other ones on the market. I could have gone, for example, for winter backpacking, or for summer backpacking. I would have gone for the Thermarest Uberlight, which comes at about, for large wide, about 340 grams. However, that's limited to 2 seasons, whereas this one has got an R value of 7.3, which means it can be used up to minus 30 degrees Celsius with the appropriate sleep system. My sleep system takes me down to comfort minus 1 degree Celsius, which includes this and the quilt, but I can still be okay down to minus 6 degrees Celsius. So it means instead of me having several sleeping pads, I've decided to go down with this one for throughout the year camping. I can camp on a glacier, adverse weather or anything. This will still be usable. And the last thing I have at the bottom of the backpack, that's my Zpacks minus 1 degree quilt, and this weighs only 423 grams. It's very comfortable. I've used it down to minus 4 degrees, moist ground, and I was still okay. So the difference between a quilt and a sleeping bag is that a sleeping bag tends to be restrictive for me. So I got the solo quilt from Zpacks, long and wide, and I really feel very comfortable in that. If it gets very hot, I just use it as a blanket. If it gets cold, I just wrap up, which is brilliant. The toe box is closed though. That gives you a little bit more comfort, and you are always assured it won't be, when you go to sleep, you still have got the quilt around you, as opposed to a proper blanket. It goes out of the way. And this is waterproof Dyneema liner, because this backpack has got a tendency to, or Zpacks backpacks have got a tendency to allow moisture at the bottom. So if you are camping and your backpack is in the vestibule overnight and it's wet, it means any stuff inside is gonna get wet. I had the 60-liter Zpacks alcohol made of the Ultra 100 material. I had the same problem. It allows moisture from the bottom. I don't know how it gets in, but this is the reality. So this one is waterproof tested. I literally filled it 2/3 water there and used it as a bucket, and nothing came out. I also carry this Life Straw water filter, 2 of them at any given time when trekking. I'm not a great water drinker. I make use of resupply points along the trail. So that's it, guys. For 6.6 kgs, I am able to protect myself and be comfortable down to minus probably 5, minus 6 degrees Celsius. And if I have to go back on a long hike like the TMB, the GR20, I should be okay with a 38-liter backpack and a base weight of about 5.5 kgs to 6 kgs, and total weight with food, 1 day to 2 day food of up to kgs, taking the weight or total weight to just under 9 kgs. So that marks the end of the presentation. This is Jobo Outdoors. If you like the presentation, please subscribe.